It's okay, we wait for you.
So set up here. Call the meeting to order. I'd like to welcome the public here. Rich, would you do the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mary, would you do roll call?
Sure. Owen? Here. Andrioli?
Here.
Snippus?
Here.
Lewis? Gooman?
Here.
Burke?
Here.
Moran?
Here.
Mayberry? Here.
Lewis had a death in her family and she's not here tonight. Announced that we had an executive session prior to this, not prior to this meeting, but and it was on personnel issues. First is Mark Cordelli, I'm sorry, Cornell. I keep trying to change his name for him.
Cornell, that's a nice university.
Yes.
Thank you, though. Mr. President, thank you, council, everyone here. Mark Cordelli, Lackawanna County. If I may, I'd like to share some wonderful activities that are going on throughout the county right now. For example, our commissioners, along with our environmental sustainability department and also the Pennsylvania Department of the West Nile Virus Control, we're actually having a recycling tire event, a tire recycling event. This is for Lackawanna County residents only. There is a fee for these tires. For example, clean tires are $3, dirty tires are $5, tires with rims are $10, and it's cash only. And there's multiple locations. It started today, but on the 17th of this month, this Friday, Dixon City, Carbondale is having theirs, and these are all going to be left here. So if anybody's interested in taking pictures, it's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. If you're interested in getting rid of your tires, Dixon City, Blakely, and also the county's having theirs on the 18th up at the Pavilion of Montage. So it's an opportunity. The Trolley Museum is having a spooktacular event, ladies and gentlemen. I tell you this. Halloween Fest, Electric City on Sunday, this Sunday, the 19th. Times are going to be from 10 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. There are costume opportunities. Those who like to dress up, there will be costume contests. The cutest, the scariest, the funniest, the most original, and the way I'm dressed up right now, the superhero event. Thank you for my poor sense of humor. Thank you very much. But the times that the trolley will be actually riding are on here. I won't go through all the time. It's just because I only have 5 minutes, I was told. Sorry. But anyway, the Career Link is having a seminar, excuse me, next Tuesday, the 21st of October. It's the Refusal of Suitable Work seminar that they're going to talk about this and all this other information. Kathy Gerard is the contact person if anybody's interested. Phone number, but it'll be located down on Franklin Avenue at the unemployment office. All right, this one is a repeat one that we've been having for the better part of a year, almost 8 months. But this is the last month for this. It is our Registers of Wills and Marriage License Bureau is having an extended hour on the last Thursday of every month, and this month it'll be on the 23rd of October that you have an opportunity to be between 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. if you're in need of a new marriage license, or those who are getting married, and also those who are trying to get their real ID. You will need to get a marriage license from Lackawanna County, a certified one with the embossed seal. And again, their hours will be from 4 to 7 on October 23rd. And this will be the last opportunity for that extended hours for this year. Next, we have our Lackawanna Luzerne partnership, where there's going to be an online public open house. They're going to be talking about the long-range transportation project, which is going to be over 20 years. This is, again, it's online. You can actually scan the QR code here and register if you're interested in listening, but they'll be interested in audience participation if you have any questions or concern as this is going on. This is going to be on Tuesday, October 28th from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Okay. back to the Trolley Museum we go. If yourself and or a child is having a birthday, you can have your birthday party at the Trolley Museum. The room is available to capacity of 50 people. There is a fee for this. It's $95, but you can decorate it any way you wish. And the Trolley Museum, the rides will be going on, and it's from 9:30 to 3:30 in the afternoon. All right, lastly, this one, ladies and gentlemen, boy, oh boy, this one gets me all the time. This is a new project that our Register of Deeds, Evie Rafalco McNulty and her staff have come up with. It's dealing with identity theft. Okay, criminals, as we all have maybe been a victim of, your credit cards, driver's license, whatever the case may be. What the criminals have upped their game. Now what they're trying to do is steal our property. This program is a year and a couple months old. Already they've had 10 people become victims of this here in Lackawanna County. So it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, and just trying to prepare and protect everybody as best as possible. So what they're doing, how they're going to steal our properties. They're not going to take your homes unless it's probably abandoned. But what they're doing is they're taking out mortgages in our name. And next thing you know, they're getting 50, 70, 80, whatever amount that they're pulling out of from the mortgage companies, and then we get the bill for that. So that's kind of how backwardly they're taking this. Now this is a program, it's free, it's online, it's through the Registers of Deeds office. You can contact them, the phone number's here. I have several flyers here if anybody wants a copy of this, and if there's a need for more, I'll be more than happy to bring more up here if anybody's interested. But you can go on to our Lackawanna County website, to Evie Rafalco McNulty, the Recorder of Deeds, and excuse me, and sign up for this particular instance. What they asked, though, is do not put your name in the, where did it ask for your name? They asked for you to put your house, your individual location, house PIN number. Whenever we are trying to give directions to some people, they ask, well, send me a PIN and give you a direct location for that. They asked for everybody to use your PIN number on there as opposed to your name, because your name, if the criminals, the hackers, have your name and information on it already, then it's going to send them a red flag that, hey, okay, this one's looking for a mortgage. They're going to then be able to follow and try to manipulate. I can't think like criminals, I'm sorry. But anyway, it's a wonderful, wonderful program. It's free, and it's hopefully we want to help protect everybody as best we can with this. So that's all I have right now. And there is an instruction sheet here if anybody has any difficulty with it. And again, I'll leave this information here. Any questions for me? Yes, sir. I'll leave them with Dawn at that time. But that's all I have at this particular time. Anybody?
Thank you.
All right. Well, sure appreciate your time. Thank you all. Have a good meeting. Thank you.
Next is Fawn for the Valley Community Library events.
All right, can you all hear me? Cool. I got a stuffy nose, so leaving the mask on today. Upcoming events at the library, we are going to have a Tiny Tot Terrific dance on Halloween at 10:30 a.m. For the little ones. We're going to have a space for the babies to dance safely, and then older toddlers we'll have another space where they can jump around and get all their wiggles out. They can come dressed in Halloween costumes, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We have a ton of upcoming fundraisers. The Valley Community Library specifically has to fundraise $50,000 each year, and that's just to operate, to keep our doors open. So you'll see that we have a lot of fundraisers coming up. There's a winter photo fundraiser November 1st and 2nd. Pictures are going to be $15 each for families, and they'll be sent to you digitally. They're beautiful, they're well done, and all the money goes directly to the library. Our fall book sale is coming up on November 13th and 15th. again, that's a great way to stock your house with books and promote literacy at home. The books are really cheap. Kids' books, I believe, are 25 cents to 50 cents each. And then for adults, hardcover books are $2. So it's extremely affordable. And then November 5th, we are going to have Eric Mintel doing paranormal investigation. That is a family-friendly event, and it's going to be really interesting. Learn about UFOs and Bigfoot and ghosts, and it looks pretty cool. But these flyers, along with our November calendars, are out on the table. You can take one, and we look forward to seeing you at the library.
Next is the public comment on agenda items.
Nobody.
Nobody signed up for that? Okay. Next are committee reports. Erin wasn't able to make the work session. She's asked to speak tonight. Erin?
Good evening. The Archbald Borough veterans, the Archbald Borough Gravity Slope Colliery, an update on that. Valley in Motion, along with committee members, will be having a meeting October 16th at 6 o'clock at the trailhead. And also on October 29th at 6 o'clock, they will also have a meeting to talk about the oil house, fan house, and the shift-in shanty. And that's the Gravity Slope Colliery, and along with Valley in Motion. I would like to also thank John Snippes for getting the safety for the cameras down there. So we have protection in our investment, the oil house against vandalism. So I have prices here, and I will give them to you, Dave. We also had our finance meeting. I would like to
You can
especially.
give them to Dan when he comes back.
Okay,
or give it to
thank you,
Don.
I will, okay. We also had our finance committee meeting. I'd like to thank also the committee members, especially Administrative Secretary Don Rudelavich, for keeping an eye on streamlining everything, taking things out of the general account, having it special categories so we could keep an eye on everything, specifically what we need to address, add to, or take out, what we could save money, where we could save money, or where money is needed. So thank you for that. We'll also have a meeting when Dan comes back as well on garbage and recycling and the TNR program. There's a big upheap in feral cat colonies at the Highlands. So we have to address that as well, Marie, yes. The Archbald Borough Veterans Monument Park, I'd like to give an update on that as well. As you pass by, I'm sure you see the two decommissioned tanks. For those who don't know, the M16 Patton tank and the M163 Falcon air defense system. They were delivered by the National Guard. These are just decommissioned tanks that were used in the early 70s up until then. And they were used up until Desert Storm, excuse me. I'd like to also thank the retired painters from Tobyhanna who pressure washed them, camouflaged them, put a new coat. I'd like to thank Rob Turlip and also Clyde Brown for pressure washing them, and they'll be painted. We are honored to have them in our park. We honor them for the tanks. We will take good care of them. They will come and inspect. Clyde Brown secured all the tanks, and they will be inspected as well. The obelisk should be coming this week along with the flags. The stone, I didn't check it out today, should be delivered for the pavilion. There were 2 coats of stain on the pavilion. We will be putting stone on the pavilion if the temperature at night is over 40 degrees. So we could see what we get done. Also, we'll be seeing tomorrow the status on the helicopter as well. The flags will be erected, the obelisk. Excuse me a minute. Just a minute. Oh, the blocks will also be, there's 210 blocks to the right and 210 on the left of the pavilion. We will be doing the right side first. I would like to also thank Jerry Munley for planting the shrubs, weed whacking, doing a lot of work up there. It's coming together, and we appreciate everybody. We also had our sports gun bingo held at the AC Field. I'd like to thank for everybody who donated, participated in the bingo, everybody who worked so hard on that day. We made over $26,000, and that will go towards the park. I just want to say, October 26th, 4:30 to 6, the Borough is having a Halloween trunk and treat. It'll be on this street from the Borough to Simeon Rapuch Funeral Home. And on both sides of the street, Christ the King is involved, residents, businesses, and we're excited about that. This is our 14th year from the Einan Archbald Lions Club, where we prepare, deliver Thanksgiving dinners on Thanksgiving morning to the Archbald residents. So if anybody here knows of a family member, a neighbor, just reach out to one of the Lions and we will be there to deliver because the Lions serve. Before we continue with the motions, Dave, could I ask you why I texted you several times and emailed you for motions where the council could have an opportunity to vote, and I had no answer, no reply? And you said every work session you ask the council if they have anything they would like on the motion. Is there a reason for that?
I followed your instructions as you had sent them to me.
Okay.
You asked me to put on, you want to talk about zoning, and you want to talk about
A moratorium.
moratorium.
Just a
and they're-
short
And they're on
piece.
there. You asked.
They're on here on this agenda?
It's right there. You're,
Oh, I didn't get an updated one then.
look at your name. It's right there.
Where?
It's right here.
No, I didn't say that. I said, would you add to the motions for this evening 4 items: a moratorium, a pause, an amendment to the zoning. If we could have meetings to discuss this. We never had one discussion at this borough building with consultants, experts, nobody. It was fast. We had special meetings to accommodate data centers, artificial intelligence, with no heart, no soul. But yet we didn't do it for our residents who pay high taxes and live in this community and is fearful of their health and safety. And the next borough, German, where one resident, his father was a commander at Hamtramck McAndrew, generational, and they're concerned. I mean, these are our friends, our neighbors, our family. This is for the safety and health for now and the next generation. to come back and visit their grandparents, parents, their graves, to live here, for our children with autism, for sensory problems, for our habitat, our animals, for, this is important. And knowing what happened in Virginia, Maryland, Ohio, we had a head start. We could have talked about this and accommodated everybody and put word to this. But nobody addressed it. We had 3 special meetings, but not one special meeting to talk about it. This is something big, and it's very disappointing. And no, I'll go home and get my phone, and I text you. I asked to add to the motion, just to have respect for the elected officials to vote if they want to pause, a short pause, and an amendment to the zoning. And 2 other issues. Can I ask you again why that wasn't on? Thank
I'd
you.
like to know-
Silence is deafening. And until you told me to ask, so now I ask Jay. Thank you, Jay.
You asked to put on the
Agenda.
about moratoriums. You didn't ask to make a motion, and there was no motion made.
No, I asked
You
to
asked to put
put on.
about amending the zoning. I put that zoning on there. I did
If
what you asked
everybody
me
wants
to do.
to wait, I could go home, but it's not on
That's the way you
the
wrote it.
motions. But it's not under the motions to
It's not, what
vote.
was the motion?
The motion was, you just said it, to put on tonight's agenda, a motion for a moratorium.
You didn't ask that.
I did in 2 texts and emails, and I
No,
could get my
don't-
phone.
and I- Please do, and we'll talk
Do you want me
afterwards
to
if you
go
want.
get it? No, I want,
Well,
well, no.
you got my answer, that's all I can
And it
tell
was
you.
sent, Dave. And I also sent one to Dan Markey, but he was out sick. He didn't return my call. I know he was talking to other employees, but not myself. It just feels like I'm on.
And I don't answer to the text messages because I got a couple emails and a text message, and I answered an email that was sent to all the council. I answered that.
Well, then I would like to
What it
make a
ended up-
motion.
well, As
Okay.
I finish here,
Go ahead. I
what ended up
apologize.
happening, that reply was put on social media and was billed as being very, very negative, so I don't answer no more. That's why.
Well, that's why I emailed you, because phone calls get lost in the wind. I have documentation that it was sent in.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
I would like to make 4 motions tonight. A motion to make a motion, and I will do that after number 10, and after number 9. Jay, could you answer this for me?
I'll try.
Recognizing of a parcel of land to a different use than surrounding area, often for the benefit of the owner. That's bad practice and illegal. Would you call that spot zoning? Spot zoning, overlays, taking part of conservation and so on.
I don't have enough facts, Karen, to give you an intelligent legal opinion on that question. If you wanted to ask me before the meeting, I certainly would have been happy to look at it for you.
But would you do it for next month, please? I appreciate it.
With the question in writing, I'll be happy to address it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Ridiculous.
I just asked one thing. Did anybody give consideration, any council members? Francis, did you read Justin Healy's paperwork that he put so much in? Francis,
Yes.
everybody did?
Yeah.
And don't you think this is alarming that we should discuss this?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's all for right now. Thank you.
Correspondence, Don?
Yep. So we received a resignation from our part-time officer, Thomas Butler, effective December 15th, 2025. A resignation from Kaylee Cornell from the Gravity Slope Colliery and the CDEC. And you also received a signed petition of residents for the zoning amendment data center. You also have that.
Thank you. Jay, you had something?
Yeah, at the work session last Wednesday, Dan brought up the codification ordinance pursuant to the provisions of the Borough Code. The ordinance has to be presented in council 30 days before adoption and then advertised 15 days before the meeting. So I am presenting the codification ordinance to council tonight. It will be advertised 15 days prior to the November meeting. It's just an ordinance that codifies all existing ordinances of the borough into one borough code. It's here at the borough for anybody to look at, but pursuant to the requirements of the borough code, it has to be presented to council tonight for consideration at the November meeting.
Thank you, Jay. Council members that'll be available, please don't wait until afterwards to come back and have your concerns. Look at it now. Thank you. I'm going to motions. Motion to approve council meeting minutes for September 17th, 2025.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Aaron.
I'll second that motion.
Second by Richard. On the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion to approve the September 2025 bills payable in the amount of $573,803.67.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Aaron, second by John. On the question. Roll call, please.
Owen,
For it.
Andrioli. For it. Snippus,
For it.
Lewis, Gooman,
For it.
Burke,
For it.
Moran,
For it. Motion passes. Motion to accept the police, work session notes, tax collector report, planning commission notes, the treasurer's report, and the zoning report. John makes that motion.
I second it.
Second by Marie. On the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. A motion to accept the resignation of Kaylee Cornell from the CDEC and the Gravity Slope Authority effective Friday, October 3rd, 2025.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Marie,
Second.
second by John. On the question.
I'd
Roll
like
call,
to-
please.
Excuse me, I'd like to thank Kaylee Cornell for all the time she put into these two events. She was an asset for sure, and now she has time to spend with her daughter, Aurora.
Roll call, please.
Owen,
For it.
Andrioli.
For it.
Snippus,
For it.
Gooman,
For it.
Burke,
For it.
Moran.
For it. Motion to appoint Jamie Kane to the Gravity Slope Authority to fill the unexpired term of Kaylee Cornell, expiring 12/31/25.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Richard,
I'll second it.
second by Marie. On the question. Roll call, please.
Owen,
For it.
Andrioli.
For it.
Snippus,
For it.
Gooman,
For it.
Burke,
For it.
Moran.
For it. Motion passes. Motion to accept the resignation of a part-time police officer, Thomas Butler, effective December 15th, 2025.
Make that motion.
Motion by John,
I'll second it.
second by Marie. On the question. Roll call, please.
Owen,
For it.
Andrioli.
For it.
Snippus,
For it.
Gooman,
For it.
Burke,
For it.
Moran.
For it. Motion to contract with ARM Group to conduct a study of the EOC site at a cost of $12,505 to be used with the FEMA EOC grant.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Aaron,
Second.
second by John. On the question. Roll call, please.
Owen,
For it.
Andrioli.
For it.
Snippus,
For it.
Gooman,
For it.
Burke,
For it.
Moran.
For it. Motion to pass resolution 15-2025 authorizing the submission of the CDBG grant in the amount of $128,220 for the paving of McAndrew Drive.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by
I'll
John.
second that one.
Second by Richard. On the question. Roll call.
Owen,
For it.
Andreoli,
For it.
Snippus,
For it.
Goodman,
For it.
Burke,
For it.
Moran.
For it. Motion passes. Motion to pass the resolution 16-2025 reducing the police officers' pension contribution to 4% for 2026.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Aaron,
I'll second it.
second by Marie. On the question. Roll call.
Owen,
For it.
Andreoli,
For it.
Snippus,
For it.
Goodman,
For it.
Burke,
For it.
Moran.
For it.
I'd like to make a motion for a moratorium, a pause, so we have time to look at the zoning on data centers, reword different things, where, adopt a new amendment that expressly lists data centers as not permitted in commercial mixed-use conservation residential zoning districts, including any zoning districts adjoining residential districts. I make a motion.
Aaron made a motion to make a motion.
Just before
Go ahead.
you entertain that motion, I think there's a number of motions in the motion, but with respect to,
Okay.
a moratorium, the
That's
Pennsylvania
fine.
Supreme Court has held you cannot do that.
Okay.
The Pennsylvania Municipalities Planning Code does not authorize it. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court has expressly stated you can't do it. So I would caution the council not to entertain that motion on a legal basis. The remainder of what you want, Aaron, I think are separate motions.
Okay.
But you're entitled to make the motion to make the motion.
I would just like to make a motion to make an amendment to the zoning on all those issues I just said, that we could talk about, council. See, I don't know I would like a special council meeting, as we accommodated the data centers on 3 separate occasions. I think this is important that the council meets to discuss these issues. I think it's urgent.
Aaron, I
And
don't mean to stop you, I don't mean to have you not get your motion through, I don't. But the process was that the ordinance was put together, that was put together for the borough. That was put together, it was put on our website, we had a public hearing. At that public hearing is when, if you had any concerns, any questions, that's where you're supposed to do it. Now we're gonna back and redo the whole thing again. You're gonna come, now you wanna come back with questions. The opportunity was there when the ordinance was presented to you.
That
Now, if you
was
wanna have another meeting, if
That was-
council decides it wants to have another meeting, we'll entertain that, but I don't understand. You already had the opportunity
That's
to
what the
speak.
people want.
that was in
You're out of order.
that
Sir.
was, Dave, that was in 2023, correct?
No.
Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about the meeting that we held over in the
Church basement.
gym, in the church basement.
But there was not a lot, it was voted against because,
No,
There was-
we held a public hearing that we had the ordinance.
correct,
And
on
the public had the
Monday.
opportunity to come in and say,
Correct.
we want to change this or change that. You, as a council person, had the same opportunity. You didn't
We
say
did.
nothing.
Yeah,
It
but
was
nobody
definite.
wanted to change it. Nobody cooperated to change it. I said it numerous times at other council meetings. I said it here numerous times
Okay.
at
If
other
you-
council meetings. That is incorrect. That is not true. I mean, I advocated for this months and months for
Okay.
this. I mean, when we did this in '23, the zoning, we did it the 3rd Thursday at 6 o'clock. Sometimes we were here for 3 hours. I guess the company we hired wasn't correct. I mean, the definition of the data center doesn't mean the data center that were in our heads. I never thought we would have these campuses come in, and so many in one area. And the negative impact it would have. And we all should sit here and be alarmed.
I wasn't here for it.
Pardon me?
I wasn't here, John wasn't here.
No, that's
And
true.
Marie wasn't here for it.
Correct.
So don't point at us all the time.
No, I didn't point you. That is true.
None of us were
They
here.
weren't here when they did the other zoning. But knowing this, but knowing what we know
We
now,
weren't in it. You just got
but now
elected
it's
here.
correct.
And that's what.
Yes, I do know.
But
All
you
right,
were-
if you want to make the motion, make a motion, put it on the floor, and we'll see what the vote is. I'm not gonna,
okay. I know, but
but
just,
make your
Rich,
motion clear
you're
so that
correct,
Don
Richard.
can write it down
Just
for you.
knowing what we know now about
The
these.
gentleman that was
we
here
should-
last week said it was 15 years he's doing it, so you didn't do your due diligence, see,
For what?
about data centers. Over across the street. 15 years he said he's doing it.
And that's the
Yes.
company Panini we should have hired.
Nope.
Unfortunately, we lost again. Okay, so I make a motion to have a special council meeting to talk about an amendment to the zoning ordinances, to go over everything.
You got a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
November 4th is coming up quick.
Do I have a second?
How could you ignore it?
There's no second, motion dies for lack of second.
That's horrible. Horrible.
Good support for Aaron.
You know what, I'm not gonna run again after 2 years. That's why I'm not doing, I don't do, that's not true.
Please,
It was an
Aaron
honor to
has the floor.
serve, and it is truly an honor to serve this community. I am so humbled. I never thought I would do this in my wildest dreams. I thought I'd last a week on this, truly. And I just found my niche, and I love it. But I will be on community events, but it won't be my legacy. I cannot do this. And it's very upsetting. I put a lot of time and work into this, as the residents did. I acknowledge you all, and I appreciate this. And I honor you. At least I would have looked good. You know, there's a way of doing things. At least look good doing things. And council didn't do that. And it's so apparent. And it's so very sad. And I'm sorry for all of you, truly.
That's true.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for the comment. Public comment?
Larry West?
Good evening, council. At last week's work session, I had brought up, I got a sore throat, I had brought up the data centers. I wanted to know where we go from where we went from over there. And it seems like I'm not getting any answers. I guess you're gonna get a lot of answers here, a lot of questions here tonight. But I did ask over there, and the solicitor was there, about spot zoning. I said, you know what spot zoning is? I got the definition right here if you'd like to hear it. But you already know what it is. It's illegal for what you're doing on this side of the mountain. The only place they belong is over there, with their own power supply, not these power lines we have. And that's, you know, I really wasn't gonna touch that much on it, but I get more and more aggravated as time goes by. I don't understand why we're having such trouble with these data centers. Nobody wants them, especially on this side. Why are we doing this to the people? You know, let these big companies with all their big money go somewhere else. They're not going to do us any favors. They never did. No big company ever did. So how about we sit down, you guys sit down, do your due diligence, and come up with something. I can't understand why everything's on the back burner here. It should have been on the front burner. I mean, with all these people coming to these meetings, you should know what's going on. You know, you just can't sit there and say, well, we'll do that next one, we'll do that next one. You're not getting anywhere, guys. You're not getting anywhere. So how about let's doing that? I just wanted to touch on that for a minute, but the reason I'm here tonight, I didn't know we were going to do data centers again, but other than that, I got your paperwork from last week, and it states committees. And it tells who's on the committee and what their job was. And my problem is, number 5 Hill. Now, I had asked for somebody on council to how about getting off your doof and finding out where the extra money is to get that curb out of there and put it where it belongs. I still think there's 7 of you sitting up there, and I still didn't get any kind of an answer. I'd like to know why. I want that out of there. I mean, the people up there, live up there, want it out of there. You don't care, you don't live up there. I go up and down there every day. And every time I see that curb, it makes me sick. It should have never been put in. Somebody didn't do their due diligence. And I can't see anybody on council here that takes care of the curbs and the roads. Did I miss somebody? Nobody? I'm looking for answers, guys. I'm gonna be coming here every month till that curb is gone. All right? So with that, I'm gonna forego any other time I have left to these people, because I know they have a lot of questions. Okay? Thank you.
Tamara Healy?
First, I want to say thank you to Erin. I can't believe she just made a motion to discuss data centers and moving forward, and you wouldn't even listen to that. That says a lot. She wasn't proposing anything specific. She just wanted a conversation. Wow. Wow. Okay. Well, this is not how I wanted to start my limited time to speak tonight, but there has been a misunderstanding that also needs to be clarified, because I will not have a hateful spun narrative out there regarding any public comment that I made. It was noted in my comment on October 3rd that although the consultant and zoning officer gave a public vote yes to move forward with the data center overlay ordinance, that neither of them are currently residents of Archbald. A very neutral fact that the public has a right to know. I then followed that comment up with these exact words. Now, I am not saying their voices don't hold professional opinion and weight, but they are not the voice of Archbald. I also have this on video footage. I specifically followed up with those words to show that their voice does matter, and they are respected professionals and a part of our team and community, but that they do not single-handedly represent the voice of Archbald residents. In the same way that in order to vote in local elections, you have to be a proven resident, not to be offensive, not because anyone isn't loved or smart or important, but because it impacts residents in a different life-altering way. If you live in a different county, your kids will not go to our school. Your property value will not be impacted by these specific data centers. You will not go to sleep to the hum and light of these buildings. Every person who plays a role in our town, as a resident or in their profession, is so appreciated and so loved by myself and everyone in this town. So to hear you saying I meant anything different last week literally made me sick to my stomach, and is a complete misunderstanding or a straight up lie. To finish, I sent our zoning officer an extremely sincere apology that night, explaining why I mentioned what I did and how very sorry I was, and that was absolutely not my intention. So perhaps you could understand my surprise then to hear such a twisted narrative being put out there last week. This is exactly why we need good communication and transparency with each other, so we understand each other and can move forward productively. We are supposed to be on the same team. We are a town. We elected you. We are a team. We work together. We need to work together for this town, its people, and our future success. When you chose not to vote for the original data center overlay amendment, we thought it showed that you heard our concerns and you were willing to work on something responsible with the residents. However, your work session last week was silent regarding our questions and non-collaborative with the people. There was no transparency or shared communication on your thoughts or next steps. You did not even mention or comment on our public petition to begin a new data center amendment and the immediate protections that would put in place for our town. If you put it on the agenda, the pending ordinance doctrine kicks in, and it would halt all applications to whatever that amendment ends up being that we work on together. You are leaving us vulnerable. You are leaving your community in the dark. What kind of leaders do that? So my question for you today, On Friday, the borough emailed my husband that the petition of over 153 residents signed in less than 2 days requesting to open a new data center zoning amendment did not legally have to be heard by council. It then said if we had any questions to have our attorney call. That email has been handed to the secretary for public record. You may not have a legal requirement to hear the people of the town, but you could, and you ethically should. And we do have questions regarding that email response. So I ask, why will you not refer the request of this new amendment to the planning committee or add it to the council agenda for us to discuss? Why? Silence. What is your current plan moving forward then with the data center zoning?
There is no plan.
Nothing. What could possibly be more important to you than the people of this town that put you in office and you swore to represent? What could be more important? Because at the end of the day, that is what we're all wondering. What is more important? Do you want to say? What is more important?
Unbelievable. Anybody? Why is there silence?
Cowards.
Anybody lining your pockets?
Thank you, Tammy.
Cowards.
Hello, everybody. Before I begin, I have a couple bits of information here. I'd like to submit for the record a packet that contains highlighted excerpts from Archibald's own compensation plan and the zoning ordinance. These sections reflect some of the values and priorities that the community has been voicing all this time: responsible growth, protection of neighborhood character, and transparency in planning. So one packet of information will go to the secretary here. And I'm going to pass it out to everybody. Would you like to do it?
No.
Okay.
Thank you, Jess.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Now, good evening. Over the past few months, we've watched the residents of neighboring towns like Blakely be heard, respected, and engaged by their councils. Their leaders listened and took initiative. Here in Archbald, we've had to organize, petition, practically beg just to get a seat at the table, and when we did, the borough's official response was that council doesn't have to act, so it won't. And I want to be clear, we're not here to fight our borough, we're here to help protect it. What we're asking for is collaboration, transparency, and responsible planning. That's why tonight I'm submitting for the record a resident-drafted zoning amendment, a good faith starting point for council to review and consider. This is what working together looks like. We respectfully request that this draft be forwarded to the Planning Commission for review under Section 609 of the Pennsylvania Municipalities Planning Code. That outlines the next steps. The residents are doing our part, researching, drafting, and offering solutions. The only question now is whether this council will do theirs. Because while you may not be legally required to act, you are ethically obligated to represent the public interest. The people of Archibald deserve a process that's open, responsive, and fair. If that's not what we're getting, we'll ensure it becomes one. Now, referencing the documents that I just passed out, the first stapled packet on the top is some experts that I have highlighted certain sections of the zoning ordinance. I'm going to kind of skip over this because a lot of it is also referenced in the comprehensive plan as well, and I don't want to waste too much time going over it, but you can look at it. There's a couple things regarding steep slopes because the proposed amendment had an exemption against the steep slopes, but yet it's in our ordinance, it's in our comprehensive plan. And then there's a noise section too. All of this kind of went into the final copy. If you look at the very last packet here, that is That is the draft amendment that the residents kind of put together with all of their thoughts, concerns, and some of the old verbiage that was used in the technical requirements in the tabled version as well is also in here. So I want to be clear, though, that this is just a working document. You know, it's meant to redline, it's meant to work together, it's meant to be collaborative. This is not the final end-all be-all, but it is a good starting point, I think, for what everybody here wants today. But I will actually, in that first section regarding the zoning ordinance, have you go to the last page. Section 1408 of the zoning ordinance says amendments to this ordinance. And it says, quote, within the requirements of the MPC, the Borough Council may amend, repeal any or all portions of this ordinance on, one, its own motion, which you guys didn't second tonight, or two, after agreeing to hear a written request of any person, entity, landowner, borough committee, or the planning commission. So 153 signatures in a day and a half. Extrapolate that out if we ran it a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. How many residents are asking you to revisit and look at the amendment? Now, going to the comprehensive plan packet, this one here. I just want to make note for public record. Some of the concerns that we have are also reflected in your comprehensive plan, and this was kind of the issue that everybody had with the original overlay proposal. Community vision statement. Archbald Borough will guide development and redevelopment to protect residential neighborhoods and important natural features. The second highlighted item. New industrial development will be concentrated in areas that have truck access to the Casey Highway without adversely affecting residential neighborhoods or steep roads. Following underneath, this vision will be carried out with the involvement of residents and business persons and by prioritizing community needs. Major goals and objectives. Land use and housing plan. Goal 1, provide for orderly patterns of development that provide compatibility between land uses, particularly to protect the livability of residential areas. The objective of that goal, direct new uses that generate significant truck traffic to locations accessible to Casey Highway interchanges, along routes that are unlikely to impact residential areas. Limit the heaviest and most intensive industrial uses to one selected land area that is not near existing neighborhoods. Goal 2, promote various types of...
Can I interrupt you for a second?
Sure.
I don't mean to be disrespectful. There is a 5-minute limit. You do have everything highlighted in your forms for us, and I think we can read through it ourselves, unless you want, if you want to meet, you don't have to come up afterwards and talk. You're welcome to come up and talk to any of us.
That's fair. Everybody has the highlighted sections. You guys can read those.
Okay, and I don't mean to disrespect your. I know you put a lot of work into this, and it's not something to be taken lightly.
Yeah, the most important one is that last one. You know, these are just some of it too.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council. I'd like to respectfully ask you to reconsider or consider reopening the discussion on our current zoning to properly address data centers. From what I heard tonight from Councilwoman Owen and other members at other meetings, when the zoning ordinance was written, you were referring to server rooms, smaller facilities that host a business's computers, not these massive industrial facilities. So I'd like to respectfully ask you, let's fix that. Let's put them, zone them where they should be in the I-2 industrial zone up by the Casey, and look at either doing a temporary moratorium on applications for them if it's legally possible, or if we need to do the pending ordinance doctrine. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's it. Council members?
in closing, just would like to say, why won't any council member just try to get together and redo the zoning for this? You're happy with everything. You don't want to work on this at all. Everything is fine. Everything is safe.
You're asking me?
All of council members, I would like to
We want to,
give the
we want to do it.
opportunity to do so.
Aaron, when the ordinance was written, it was written by Paomi,
Panoni.
Jay, Dan, in the zoning office. We didn't have no council, there was no council people there. It was written professionally. And this was only a first step. It wasn't meant to be the final answer. It was meant to be, like right now, there's a lot of areas where a data center can go. And if you want, and we were trying to stop that. We're, as quick as we could get this ordinance drafted, publicized, have a hearing, and put it in place, then once that's in place, then let's have the conversation. What can we add to it? What can we take away from it? How can we amend it? It's not the final document. It's just, it was something to get the public borough protection. And that's what it was. You didn't want that. You didn't want the protection. That's what happened. They kept coming.
We're asking for protection now. We're open residential and resource conservation.
Can I speak? I gave you all the opportunity to speak, and I didn't interrupt you.
We didn't answer any of our stuff.
I didn't interrupt any of you. I gave you the opportunity to speak.
Marie wants to.
The process was to get the first draft done so we can, this first draft, when, how do I want to say it? If it was adopted, now if somebody came in tomorrow with an application for a data center, they got to process it, put it in. They have to go through all these things that they have to do. They have to have the letter of intent from PP&L, from the water company, from all these different places. When all that is all packaged and put together and cleared, then we have a public hearing on it. We sit down, council and the public and the data center people come in and put their presentation on in front of the public. When they do, you can come in and say, well, look, we think the noise level is too low or too high. We think the lights are this. Whatever it is that you want to put in there, we as a council have the opportunity to put that as a condition under which they are granted a permit. If they don't like our conditions, guess what? They don't have to build here. But we can put any reasonable condition on them. When I say reasonable, they can always take us to court, but it's reasonable. But that was the whole idea, was to at least get the conditional where if somebody comes in for it, they can come in and right now, if somebody wanted to put a data center down at Gentex, right behind your house, they have a right. It only needs 1 acre of land. We put in there that you need 120 acres of land, so it has to be away from the residential areas. If you looked at that thing, right now, there's no standards for what the outside of the building has to look like. We had put in there what the standards are. It has to be blocked. There's a buffer zone of, we put in 50 feet. Now, if they came back and it says 50 feet, and the public and the council agreed that it should be 75 or 100, we can put that as a condition. But we can't get there. People are just, we're not voting to allow a data center. We're voting to regulate the data centers. That's what that whole ordinance was about. And where they go was gonna limit it to 4 sections. Now, there's already.
We didn't want the overlay. We want to
And
protect.
that doesn't mean that we can't change that.
So let's open it
That's
and.
what we're asking.
That's what we're trying to do.
That's why we're asking
We
you to
can't
open
open
it.
something that's not,
You can
that's,
Create a
open
new amendment. You
amendment.
can start a new one.
well, it's gonna take a while to do
Solicitor,
it.
can we
Well,
open
what's
an
the
amendment?
What's the hurry? I don't understand.
Okay.
Can a new amendment be open,
Thank you,
yes or
sir.
no?
Thank you for your,
Yes.
you don't wanna let me speak, you don't wanna let me
Let
give
me
you.
address it.
You don't want to
To
communicate
answer your
back and
question
forth.
directly,
Listen.
yes.
Yes.
Another amendment can absolutely be opened, discussed. When our ordinance was adopted in 2023, there's no definition of data center.
Why?
It's
There's a
also.
definition.
Wait a
Let me
minute, you
finish, please.
gotta let him
I'm trying to give you
finish.
answers that you're
Sorry.
asking for. When Brian Dooley started getting applications in, he brought it to my attention that this is gonna be something we have to get our hands around, and I agreed with him. We immediately hired Pannoni, I think that was in January or February. The goal was to regulate, to get tools in our zoning ordinance where we could put conditions, where we had more control than we have, where we have more control over where they're gonna go. Now, I understand everybody's concerned about the overlay. That's not a legal question. It's not spot zoning, very confident in that opinion. It's permissible under the express provisions of the Pennsylvania Municipalities Planning Code. I'm not worried about spot zoning. It's not spot zoning. Where you want to put it, that's not a legal question, and I'm not trying to pass the buck, but I'm not a member of council. I don't have the luxury, even though I'm from Archbald, I've been born and raised in Archbald, my business is here, I love this community. But I don't have the luxury of making any policy. All I have is what I can tell the council what they can and what they can't do. Where you can put it, where you can't put it, ultimately that's gonna be a decision for council. But right now, they're permitted in a whole lot of areas with not a lot of regulation. And you have to look at the federal government and the state government. There are bills in your legislature in Harrisburg that significantly are designed to restrict our ability to do just what we tried to do. The longer we wait to do that, the greater the likelihood is that we're not gonna have any power here. You're gonna be beholden to Harrisburg and Washington. And this is something the President of the United States is aggressively pursuing. It's something your governor is aggressively pursuing. It's something your representative is aggressively pursuing. So there are pieces of legislation in your state legislature now that are aimed to prevent these people here from doing exactly what you're asking them to do. I think it's very important for everybody to realize. This process took months. We did hire Pannoni. We looked at other ordinances. We looked at ordinances from Virginia. We looked at ordinances from Ulster and Pennsylvania. Pannoni had experience with those. Nothing was done haphazardly. This was prepared, and under the provisions of the Municipalities Planning Code, we have to then prepare a document. There was a meeting on August 1st where Brian Dooley read virtually the entire ordinance to every member of council, and the council voted unanimously to send that ordinance to the Archbald Planning Commission and the Lackawanna County Regional Planning Commission for their review and comment, as is required by the law. We got both comments back. The Archbald Borough Planning Commission was in support of it as drafted. The only suggestion the Lackawanna County Regional Planning Commission had was maybe your 120 acres is a little bit too big. And the borough didn't think it was a little bit too big. We kept the 120 acres. We then had to have a public hearing under the requirements of the Pennsylvania Municipalities Planning Code, which we did in the church basement. The purpose of that hearing was to get your input, and we received your input, and I think the council heard it loud and clear. That doesn't necessarily mean that that was a bad ordinance, because now we don't have the protections that we wanted to put in there. I think the letter from Ms. Contreras, I thought was well put, that she submitted to the borough. She didn't like the idea, but at least we had some protection. So, and I mentioned at the beginning of that public hearing, the public hearing wasn't about whether data centers are or are not permitted. The hearing wasn't about whether it's a good idea, or whether we can or whether we can't prevent them. We can't. You can't legislate a use legally out of a municipality. get back to your issue, where do you want to put it? Again, that is something that the council is going to have to decide.
I know, but they didn't want to vote tonight to discuss
Please,
it.
please let
We
them finish.
can't,
Why can't you?
because we would be here until midnight.
Who cares? A special meeting.
See,
A special meeting, Marie. A special night.
Aaron,
I'm trying to
And if
give-
we're here to 2 and 3, hey, I don't care.
I'm trying to give you your answers that you're looking for.
we're trying to do a comment.
And I'm trying to give you just a context of where we're coming from and maybe a roadmap of where we're gonna go. So I'm trying to do that here.
I know.
So the ordinance wasn't rejected, but it was not passed. So that means that right now, technically, there's no ordinance pending, although that ordinance is not dead. It hasn't been adopted. For there to be a pending ordinance, for the invocation of the pending ordinance doctrine, you have to have a document that's finalized, that you can send to both planning commissions and say, this is what we want to adopt. Until you have that, you don't have a pending ordinance doctrine. So, Mr. Healy, your petition was sent to me after Wednesday to look at, and I did review it. I think there might have been a miscommunication in what the borough's position was. All I said, you asked the borough to do 3 things in the petition. First was to re-engage the process of an amendment, but the second was to, by accepting the petition, state that it's the borough's position that the pending ordinance doctrine is invoked and that we're going to issue a moratorium. Those last 2 things are not legally permissible. I explained that to the borough manager, and I think his then communication to you was, not that we don't have to act, but we can't do 2 of the things you asked us to do. So I don't think it was a question of the borough saying to you, we're not doing anything. So I apologize for any miscommunication there may have been there. But I explained to the borough manager that 2 of the requests you made were, in my opinion, not legally possible for the borough to do. Does that mean that the borough cannot re-engage the process? No. Does that mean that the borough won't? That's not for me to say. I mean, that's not a legal issue, that's a policy issue. So where do we go from here? Legally, you do have the ordinance that's out there. That can be it would have to be re-advertised. We have the public hearing. You could re-advertise the passage of that ordinance and have a vote on it. If that's what you do, if we advertise that, you do have a pending ordinance doctrine with that particular ordinance. That's one option. Option number 2 is go back to the drawing board. I don't think you have to start from scratch. You do have 2 working documents, the one that was prepared by Pannoni with my assistance, the one that you just gave us. If you do that, the ordinance that has already been the subject of a public hearing is going to be substantially changed. The map will be substantially changed potentially. That happens, you have to have another public hearing. You have to submit the revised ordinance and the revised map once you arrive at it, which that is gonna take some time. I mean, just practically speaking, you're not gonna have a meeting next month and everybody's gonna be in agreement, because there may be other people that want it somewhere else and can make a compelling reason. There may be people that don't want it where you want it. So you would have to include everybody's input. And then once you have a working document to send, then we start all over. We have the document, council votes on it at a meeting, not to pass it, but to submit it to the Planning Commission and to the Lackawanna County Regional Planning Commission. They then have 30 days to give us their input, which they did before. Once we have that input and we have an ordinance that we want to go ahead with, we have to publicize another public hearing, which we would have, and at that point, you're in a position to adopt a new ordinance. That process, based upon my experience, you're probably looking at anywhere, optimistically, 4 months, probably closer to 6.
I like that idea, Jake.
And 4
I
months
like it.
is a long time without any protection from any borough, any data center that comes in now.
That point has to be underscored, because
Right.
during that process, there is no pending ordinance, because we're working on that ordinance, so that you don't have an ordinance to say is pending. So any applications that come into Brian in a principal permitted use zone, as long as they comply with the terms of the existing ordinance, he has to issue the permits. So the protections that we have incorporated in this ordinance will not go into effect for that time period, because there is no pending ordinance doctrine, and there would be no moratorium that can legally be issued.
we don't know how many will come in the future and where they might decide to come. So I think it's imperative that we re-advertise the ordinance, change the zoning ordinance, have a public hearing to give it to Lackawanna County Planning and move on this. Move quick so we get this accomplished within the 4 months.
But,
It's better than doing nothing, Marie.
but, no, I'm not talking about
Don't you
doing
agree?
nothing. But, and Jay, you can tell me better than I know. But if we accept the ordinance that we had there, it puts a limit on the data centers coming in. And then can we re-amend some of the stipulations if, like, people say, well, let's have it X amount of feet versus the X amount of feet you said, or can we do that then?
The borough zoning ordinance can be amended at any time pursuant to the provisions of the Pennsylvania Municipalities Planning Code. But because the zoning ordinance is the animal that it is, it's very difficult. Difficult is probably not the right word. It's,
Time consuming.
there are a lot of steps you have to go through to do it. It's not like if you want me to draft you an ordinance, you can tell me draft the ordinance and I can advertise it in 7 days before the next meeting and you pass it. With the Pennsylvania Municipalities Planning Code and the zoning ordinance, there are other agencies that we have to submit it to for their input, and there are public hearing requirements and other advertising requirements. So it's not something that is as easy as just a regular amendment. Yes.
The process of going from the public hearing on that Monday, where we had the time to put in comments, and most of us did, and we said, we like the protections that are in the overlay, but what we would like is to have maybe 3 more things in there. But how would that even have happened when the vote was going to be 4 days later? Like, what would have been the process if council did want to take some of the things we suggested into consideration?
Any substantial change of that ordinance would have required just to reset everything. So they would not have been able to do that. But I think it's important for the public to understand, the borough didn't just have a public hearing and then 3 days later say we're going to vote on something we haven't considered before. The council had a meeting on August 1st to authorize me to send that ordinance to the Lackawanna County Planning Commission and the Archbald Planning Commission. So council had it in August, and they had it before August. They unanimously decided to direct me to send it, and then when I sent it, we got the comment back, and then we had another, council also directed me then to advertise the public hearing and to advertise the special meeting that was held the following Friday. But to answer your question directly, if the council makes any substantial change based upon the public hearing, then they have to start all over again.
So then what was the point of public comment at that meeting on Monday if it wasn't going to make any difference for the vote on Friday?
Well,
I'm just asking you a question, JP.
I think exactly what happened. The public input was given and the motion was not passed. And it wasn't defeated because there was not a second.
Right.
But again, I'm not a member of council. I don't vote. I can't tell you why. But I can tell you in the past, we've amended the zoning ordinance more perfunctorily and no controversy, just little changes, same process. We would have the public hearing at 6:45, and then we would pass it at 7 o'clock later that same day.
But we've been at all these meetings and we've been telling you we were concerned, but it just kept, we went to the planning committee and we told them we didn't like this. And they went ahead and said, we don't care, I guess we don't care what you think, we think it's okay. We came here when you looked at it and we said, we don't like this. You've had time to hear we didn't like it, and then you have a vote, and we come there and we tell we don't like it, and now all we're asking is for you to take the overlays out and have something that we like, something that's protecting us. We don't have to have 6 data centers around us.
And again, I'm trying to answer your question or your concern directly, but and I'm not a council member, but from a legal perspective, I'm looking at the current ordinance and we're not protected.
Right.
And I'm looking at the ordinance that was drafted, and I think we're substantially more protected than we are right now. Even though the overlays, you might not like the overlays, I get it. But from a legal perspective, there's much more protection. that can always be changed in the future.
No, I have a question. I'm a realtor.
Can you stand?
Sorry. I'm a realtor. So in terms of like the data overlays, what was the benefit of putting it over like rezoning, over like resource conservation and like residential? What did you guys feel was the benefit? Because that's a big concern of ours, which was a reason why a lot of the public spoke that way about it.
Well, again, I'm not on the council, but I was a part of drafting the ordinance. I was a part of consultation with Pannoni.
Right.
That area of the borough is not a heavily populated area of the borough. There's not a lot of residential impact on that particular area of the overlay. And you're taking a property that is not economically productive and making it economically productive.
Even though it's on residential.
It's not zone residential.
One
I
of
mean,
them's
it might be
zoned
resource conservation, but
One of them was zoned
if some of it's residential. But again, you're not impacting existing residential areas with that section of the overlay.
Although I have a house and I'm resource conservation,
Okay.
so it would affect.
Well, I'm just telling you from a legal
Right.
perspective why that was included there,
Right.
because there wasn't a whole lot of residences there. Whether, as a matter of policy, the borough council wants to change that's out of my hands.
Yeah.
Kaylee, did you have something you want to ask?
Yeah, why is Archbald proposing such a different, well, not anymore, but proposed such a different amendment than all other boroughs in the valley? For example, Jessup picked one area above the highway, an industrial area. Blakely, they just put theirs out. Theirs is one area. Why aren't we just doing one area in an industrial zone?
Question.
Again, that's the ordinance as it was drafted by Pannoni and by myself, considered requests from developers. The area that was in the Wildcat area, again, there was not any residential. That's the only resource conservation. The other areas, I think, are in commercial and industrial zones.
Well,
But they run through towns that affect residents.
They do, but they're
Yeah.
currently industrial and commercial, so there are
That's not
uses that can go there. And there are areas in town that are much more intrusive to residential areas
Yeah.
that can be subject to data centers now without that regulation.
that's not accurate. You were expanding the acreage. Because
Yeah.
right now, as our borough ordinance stands, it's not permitted in mining, which Savol owns about 13% of the borough up on the mountain. So you were expanding into that area, as
Which is-
well as, like she said.
Just because you're
residential and
expanding the
conservation
acreage
areas.
doesn't mean that you're being any less intrusive or more intrusive. The zones that they're permitted in now with no protection, somebody can come in here if they wanted to put a small data center in one of those zones, even though it's minimal acreage compared to what was in the overlay. I
Well,
think
let's
the people-
change that.
Let me finish. The people that are there, I don't think would feel as comfortable if a data center goes in, there's nothing the borough can do about it.
So why did Brian state that for the 2 applications that are in, well now 3, the 2 that are grandfathered in, he said, our current zoning ordinance is very much enough to protect the people. So now you're contradicting that.
I'm not contradicting that.
That's exactly what he said. And you're saying
There
that our
are,
current
there,
ordinance is
what he
enough.
said was there are performance standards in our existing zoning ordinance, and there are. There are noise standards, there are height standards, all of those standards exist. The proposed ordinance takes that and makes them, in a lot of cases, more restrictive. So that's not contradicting what Brian said.
But you're saying that we need to act fast and change things, so, and he was saying that the way the ordinance is protected.
I'm saying there's no definition of data center in our current ordinance. I'm saying that the safeguards that I think everybody universally agrees are proper and are good and should be in the zoning ordinance aren't there now for where they're principal permitted uses. That doesn't mean they're completely unregulated. I mean, PP&L still has to regulate the power. The water company still has to regulate water if they're gonna use public water. PennDOT is still gonna regulate highway occupancy permits. DEP is still gonna regulate any land movement. So it's not a question of having no protection, but it's a question of You can have more protection, and that's what we attempted to do.
Give the council more control, right?
Yes.
So can we open the amendment to get what we all want, more protection? Can we open a new amendment and move forward so
What
that
the
we all
step,
win?
what the step was adopt the amendment and then bring
It's
you
so
in.
much harder to make a change.
No, it's not.
Is it or is it not?
No.
Harder to make it.
No.
And lawyers have told us if you legally open up residential area and resource conservation area in an overlay, future companies can say, how come you open this up for them and not us? If you open us up legally, you are catering off of the Wildcat. There is residential there, check the map, and resource conservation that we were handing over. That right now, with this being shut down, is actually more protected. They can't build on that area. And was it or was it not going to be the largest data center in the state of Pennsylvania that you were gonna allow on the Wildcat?
In addition, putting into all the areas.
Wait.
One at a time.
Whoa.
We don't have any plans for any data center other than the 3 that have been, and I'm not
That's
sure
one
we
of
have
the
plans for
3,
those.
is it not? The one on the Wildcat?
No,
No.
That's not one of the 3 applications
No.
that
no,
is
no.
Nope,
There's another one.
there's only 2
Yeah,
on
there's
it.
only, I believe there's only 2.
There's only 2. One
So
is
that
correct.
one got revoked when the amendment didn't pass?
There was no application for the data center, for the Wildcat.
So then why would we open all that space up? Residential and resource conservation, that leaves us legally vulnerable to those areas in the future.
Well, you're talking about a lawyer that I haven't talked to, I don't know who it is, I don't know what he said. I don't agree that it opens us up legally, but it's a policy question whether the council wants to do it or not. To your question was, can the borough open it? The answer is yes.
No, does it leave us legally vulnerable?
I don't know.
If we open residential area and resource conservation areas for the future?
No, I don't believe it does.
So I'm gonna head and close, but the process, what would help get this thing done is to adopt the ordinance as we have it now. Come in with all your,
No, you're holding us hostage.
We already said no.
No, that's BS.
Why not open a new one?
No,
Because it's
I
gonna-
won't go. We didn't approve it because we weren't happy. That's why I didn't approve it. I don't want to take away conservation. I don't like the overlays. And guess what else? None of the council voted it, except for one. Nobody had the guts to do it.
Nobody voted at all.
Don't blame the residents. Blame the council didn't vote for it, David.
You could have voted
Only
it
one
down.
person, Richard did.
I didn't vote for it.
nobody voted.
You,
No, I
you
did
made a
not vote for
motion.
it.
You made a
I can
motion.
make a motion.
Please.
And if we made a motion and everybody voted, it would have been over with. We
You
wouldn't be dealing
made
with
a
it.
motion.
You
You
can
made a
make-
motion.
You can,
Nobody
It would
seconded
have been
it.
over with.
Aaron,
No, we're not going that route. We're going
Aaron.
because they got what they wanted. They were in here in
Remember,
meetings
Aaron,
and
if you
said,
did it
"You
right
give us
2 years
this
ago, we would have been done.
back there
if.
in the breakfast room,
23.
and I'll give you that." Oh yes, that's exactly what happened. Negotiate it with them. No, you can't negotiate now, but on several terms, you negotiate it with them. Yeah, you did, and you know you did. You
You're
gave
lying.
them what they wanted, and we lost. And I will not vote for that zoning, never. We
Okay.
should have meetings and redo
Richard.
this ordinance. The definition
I
of a
wanna
data
thank
center.
you for spending the time.
Very sad,
And
very
I hope you
sad.
listened a little bit what Jay had to say. We as council have to follow what our solicitor advice is. If I decide to go against the solicitor's advice, I'm liable for it.
about us?
I'm liable for that. You know? So,
about the residents?
Well, what's his advice? I thought he said he could open it.
If we choose to do so. If council
Let's do it. Let's
chooses
get
to do
going.
so. I choose to do so.
Let's work together, guys.
So put
That's
that on the
what's
agenda
fun.
next
would
month.
somebody like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make that motion.
I have a second.
November 4th.
All in favor?
It doesn't matter. I'll still go.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you everybody for coming.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you, Aaron.
Congratulations, you won. Hi, Jared. Hi, Jared. You guys. I'm not guys. I want to say